Let me show you an alternative way how we can create the structure for all these points and also take into consideration, for example, scaling of elements to the outside. Before, the process we used was basically for all these steps creating individual objects, which works, but we can also approach this a little bit different. So I will select this one here, A, so the main object, the mesh, and the circle. With A we select, Shift-D, make a copy, and let's move this to a different layer. And now I will select all these lines, E for extrude and S, scale it apart, E and S, scale it apart. Okay, maybe remove all the faces. Good, so this is perfect. What we will do now is apply actually this effect so that the instancing we turn into actual objects by using the make duplicates real command. Then actually this mesh we can remove, and now we have all these individual objects. Perfect. So the trick now is what I want is to select all those objects here and then actually scale them. And I want the influence from the outside going to the center. And you know, for this we can make use of the proportional editing. So I have this one turned on, for example, linear. That's the fall off I want. And when I press S for scale, pay attention to the size of your fall off. You see when I move my mouse wheel, the ring gets bigger, so the influence gets bigger, and this is the proportional size. So I want this actually to be rather not big, but I want this to be rather small. Hold on one second, my mouse is going crazy. There. So that maybe the outside and the next ring in the inside I use. Okay, but you see the problem is they scale and then they move, and that's not really what I want. So what I want is maybe turn this one on, the individual origins, and now when I scale, you see actually that they maintain at the same position. And then with the mouse wheel I can nicely play and create transitions from the outside to the center. Pretty nice. And then with the moving the mouse I can adjust the strength. Okay, so this is good, but now the pattern has way too many gaps in between, and I would like to actually get them all closer together. How do I do this? Well, I could turn this one back on, bounding box, and then you see they all scale closer together, but the problem is I also scale the objects, which is not what I want. For this, Blender has a pretty nice function. Next to the origin, there is the ability to manipulate only the object center point, so this orange dot, and it will ignore the scaling, just only the position when we scale. So click this one, and then when we scale, you see they just move closer together. Perfect. So now we can do this actually in multiple interesting ways. We can select all those, for example, and scale them down, so from the center, or we maintain everything from the outside. For example, I scale it all a little bit further together, maybe like this. Okay, so this is a little bit more compact. And maybe this distance here I want to get closer, so I make another scale, but this time I change the influence so that maybe only the outside rings I move. And you see I play with the proportional size. maybe like there. Okay, and maybe I can get now all a tick closer into that corner. Let's say there. Let's get those out a little bit. There, you see, pretty fast, intuitive, and this is something a circular array in that case cannot really do as fast. There's only one problem left, as you can see, because we just pressed S, all these objects scale also along the x-axis. So when we have all these objects selected and we press S, we could press Shift X to prevent along scaling the x-axis, but I find this is a little bit too much work. What we simply can do is, what's the size? This is actually 2 centimeters. Okay, so we can select all these objects, hold the Alt key, click Dimension X, type in 2 centimeters, enter, and now they're all scaled to the correct length.